To our PowerPoint. This is just a reminder that your homework is due, and this was your homework that was assigned on Friday, page 147 to 149, which is it in your sound speech book. Also due is your topic analysis and selection assignment. So make sure that you have that into your sub. All right, let's continue with discussing outlines. So I know that you guys already have experience in working with outlines, but really speech outlines are quite something else compared to what you're used to. It definitely builds on top of what you guys already know. But I'll be introducing some new concepts that is going to be crucial for you guys to incorporate into your speech outlines. So why in the world do you need to know more about outlining? Because like I just said, what you previously have been practicing in whenever it comes to speech outline is really just a rough example of the level that you're going to need to bring it to. Next is you really need to take these seriously because in the end, what you need to be able to submit, you will do drafts first, but your final submission for your speech outlines that are going to be due the day that you give your speech needs to be specific and polished. Why? Because it will be graded. And I will provide a grading rubric for you guys of what you can expect to be graded on. And I'll also be providing an example for you guys. And so the example that I do provide, that is what I am looking for. And remember that you're going to be building this. I don't expect, I hope that your first draft that you turn in will include all of these elements. But remember, that is what I'm going to be looking for in the official outline that you turn in the day of your speech. I want it to be polished. I want it to be formal. And so you'll be doing this and bringing it to a whole other level. And it will be a hefty grade. And so as much as I grade on speeches, know that if you slack off in your outline, this is also a very significant grade in this class. So when you do it, you need to do it well. You guys know I'm OCD about subordination, and so subordination is basically, if you're going to have a Roman numeral 1, you need to have a Roman numeral 2. And I'll give you guys examples of this. But this is a key concept because what you're doing is you're organizing information. So you need to have main points and you need to have subpoints. You need to have a strong intro. You need to have a strong conclusion. You need to be able to have a preview. You need to be able to have a review. You need to have all of this information and you need to be able to organize it in such a way that it makes sense. And your subordination is that way of categorizing what the level of importance is. So what is worthy of being a main point? What is worthy of being a subpoint? And so all of this has to be displayed in an outline. So the first thing you need to do with your subordination is you need to identify. So you need to learn how to identify what information is primary. And you need to be in your subpoints have got to be consistent in supporting that main point. And so speakers use outline form to write their speeches. And so I know some of you guys like to write and then do your outline. Please try your best to write your outline first. And so think about it as just like if you're used to writing a manuscript and just going from a manuscript, make it your speech outline your manuscript. All right. And so and outline it that way. And so whenever you're looking at the specific outline, what I'm looking for is your primary points need to be in Roman numerals. All right. I will be looking at that, guys. If you thought I was OCD with these outlines, yeah, I kind of am. And then your subpoints need to be capital A with a period, capital B with a period. And so there's a proper subjugation. But if you have an A, you need to have a B. All right. And so it should come in pairs, and we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. And so go back and reference these examples. I have them up here for your benefit. And so you need to alternate numbers and letters to show further subpoints. So these are the exact subpoints that I'm looking for. So Roman numeral 1, Roman numeral 2, capital letter A, capital letter B, and then after that your subpoints is going to be 1 and 2. And so notice how each subordinate breaks the previous point into more specific information. You're not necessarily introducing something else. You're just expounding on what your primary point is. So unless you have an outline on PowerPoint or some other visual, your audience is going to really depend on your organizational approach. And too much information under too many points is going to become a mess. And so that's why, like, some people are just like, okay, you need to have 3 primary points. You know, a lot of people, whenever they speak, especially in church, you'll find that they usually have a certain amount of points. And then if they go too many, it's too much to remember. All right. So, but regardless of the type of information that you decide on, you should use at least 2, but no more than 5 main points. And that will be part of your grading. You need to be able to say what you need to say concisely. And so why? Because this is for your audience's benefit. All right. You want them to remember what you're saying. And in order for them to remember what you're saying, you have got to be organized. All right. And so I've already discussed this. Your division for every A, you must have a B. For every 1, you must have a 2. So to divide 1 point, you have to have 2 subpoints. On the very rare occasion, you may have 1 subpoint, but it cannot be common practice. And when I say very rare, I mean, like, I don't want to see it more than once in an outline. And then you need to make sure that each set of points is equal in importance. So if your subordinate points explains one of the other subordinate points, they are not of equal importance. So it needs to always go based on the level of importance. Each should always add information to the previous point, the previous main point. So points 1, 2, and 3 that are your main points should be of equal importance in an outline. And so it's all about balance. And A, B, and C should be all about whatever their main point is. And so, you know, if A, B, and C is under main point 2, then it all needs to be relating back to main point 2. Parallelism. This is use of points that are parallel in form and structure. And what I mean with that, guys, is you have got to be consistent. So with my class, I usually require your outlines to be in complete, full sentences. And so if you're going to have a main point that's written out as a sentence, all of your following subpoints also have to be written out as full sentences. And so it's that idea of matching everything. So if your main point is a phrase, not necessarily complete sentence, but a phrase, then all of your subpoints should follow that. And so there should be a consistent grammatical pattern that is there. The formal outline, this is what you are going to be officially submitting to me that I will grade. It's that sentence outline. I do like it in sentences, and it includes the title, general, specific purpose, thesis statements. It's in sentence outline format. It'll also include transition statements. So go ahead and look at that example that you're going to be provided with, or that you should already have, and that's kind of an idea of what you will be developing. And so your conclusion and your introduction must be written out completely. Does this mean I expect you to do everything verbatim? No. But I want to see that you have clearly thought through what you are going to be starting and finishing with, because a good start and a good finish is crucial to public speaking. All right. This outline really does help you to fully develop your ideas. So as much as it may seem overwhelming to do it, there's a reason why that when you do this, you don't wait till the night before. All All right, you can't procrastinate on that, or else you're going to be in a really hard place. Now, this speech, or this outline, I would say, is not one that you necessarily want to use while you are speaking. And the reason why is because it's incredibly detailed. And so this is kind of like a report. This formal outline is more like of a report that you're going to be submitting to me, and that helps you organize your thoughts. And so if it's detailed and you have things organized in such a way, you can use, and I'm not saying that you can't, but there are other ways that you can simplify an outline. That is a separate outline. This formal outline, once again, is the one that you will be submitting to me. But whenever you're speaking, you can use a working or performance outline. And this is something that you will not have to turn in to me. This is something that you will use, and this is what you'll use to speak from. And typically, a lot of people will do this in a variety of ways. Some speakers use the 3x5 index cards with words written larger so that they can read it and not have to squint and really focus in on the card in the middle of the speech, because that's distracting. Or some people will enlarge their outline and they'll have a notebook and they'll kind of just flip through. I've seen a few speakers do that. Either way, your speaking outline needs to be simplified. It needs to be readable for you so you don't get lost in the middle of your content. And it needs to be sure, and then you'll need to be sure that you are familiar enough with your speech that your outline is not a distraction, that you don't overly depend on it. And so you should be able to able to communicate effectively without having to search through your notes. This is other information. Go ahead and read through this. And this is for your speaking outline. It just goes a little bit into more detail as far as how you should do it. And I do want you guys to try this. Even if you're doing a presentation, I would like for you guys to do this just because, when I say presentation, I mean PowerPoint. And the reason why is because we can get way too stuck to the PowerPoint and you end up talking to the PowerPoint and not the audience. So I would like for you guys to use this method whenever it comes to your informational speech. And once you have organized your outline, you can begin thinking about how to fine point everything. So you'll first be developing your main point and your sub points. And so this is what you guys are going to be really working on and focusing on first. And believe it, or I'm sure at this point you probably can believe it because, hey, it's me and, we're going to be bringing it to another level. But here's where you really start bringing it up to that really formal aspect. And that's where you start incorporating signposts and previews and reviews and transition statements. And so that's the next thing that you'll be building onto your outline. And we're going to pause there, and you guys are going to be working on your Chapter 8 review.